applesauce is often used as a substitute for oil or butter in baked goods, but today we're making it the star of the show for National Applesauce Cake Day. Yep, that's what today is. I'm sharing the recipe in this week's Brittany's Bites. So it is National Applesauce Cake Day. So guess what we're making? Yeah, applesauce cake. It's one of those old school cakes that I haven't thought about making in a really long time. We're gonna make it in this really cute bun pan. This has become my favorite. And I've already, by the way, sprayed it with the baking cooking spray, not regular cooking spray, baking, because it'll give a little flour coating on it as well, because it's so much easier than trying to butter all of those ridges and flour it and making sure that you don't miss a spot. So that's good to go. By the way, the oven is preheating at 350 degrees behind me. So I have things a little bit started here already. In here, I have 3 cups of AP all-purpose flour. Then I have 2 teaspoons of baking soda and also 1 teaspoon of salt. To that, we're gonna add some of the spices and flavoring. You can really add what you want here. If you only like cinnamon, only add that. If you don't, leave it out. You can do cinnamon and cardamom. You can do cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg, which is what I'm doing. It's almost like a holiday spice blend. I love it. All right, so we're gonna start with 1 teaspoon, but I love cinnamon, so I'm gonna really not even quite measure it. Oh, okay, that's a little too much, so I'm just going to put some behind me here. That's already a lot, so this is gonna be a very cinnamony cake. Now we have nutmeg, and we're gonna do a ½ teaspoon here. I'm gonna stick it in. All right, I'm going to measure it away from my mixing bowl this time. ½ teaspoon of nutmeg. And then we're gonna keep sort of going down with it because these get to be more overwhelming flavors, cloves especially, so I'm just gonna do a ½ teaspoon of cloves. And again, we've got a lot of cinnamon in there, thanks to my mismeasuring and my messiness. Again, clumsy in the kitchen, as usual. All right, so we've got all of our spices in there, including a lot of cinnamon. We're gonna whisk it all together, just get that mixed up. And this will be our dry mixture that we will add to our wet mixture. Okay, so we've got that all good to go. Over here in my mixing bowl, which we're gonna use on the mixer, I have 2 cups of firmly packed brown sugar and also 2 sticks of softened butter. You can see it's very softened in there. Here, for a little bit more flavor and sweetness, we're gonna add a ½ cup of honey. And if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about spraying your either your teaspoon or your measuring spoon or your measuring cup with oil, because then, or I'm sorry, with cooking spray, because the honey will come right out. Okay, I had it upside down so it would pour easily. So it's already kind of pouring out a little bit. All right, so that's a ½ cup, and it should, yep, come right out so easily. We're gonna get this started on medium, and we're gonna go up to high once we start to get it mixed here, because we really wanna beat that until it's very, very fluffy, and then we're gonna add in our eggs. So this will be very loud, and we're gonna get it going. Okay, so we have this all beaten up. It's getting really nice and fluffy. So we have our 2 eggs over here. Again, I did it right this time. I cracked my eggs into a separate little dish, so no shells get in there and then you can't find them and you ruin the whole cake, or you bake the cake and then you find a shell later. Here go the eggs, and then we're gonna beat it up and combine it some more. And then we're gonna start adding our flour mixture. Okay. We have our eggs combined. It's looking nice and thick and fluffy. I'm gonna scrape it down a little bit off the sides and then add in some of that flour mixture. And obviously, you're gonna wanna do this in parts, just like you do every sort of baking mixture that you do, so it doesn't go everywhere. All right, start with just a little bit. And we're gonna combine this, just go back and forth until it's all combined. Okay, this got really thick and chunky because we don't have the applesauce in there yet. So that is the last ingredient. We're gonna put 2 cups of applesauce. Here's 1 cup. We'll start with that and get that starting to combine. Okay, now our last step, the 1 last cup of applesauce. All right, that's looking pretty good. There we go. All right, we're just gonna mix this up until it's combined. Whoa! Okay, this is all combined. I don't know if you saw while I was mixing this, it just went everywhere. This is what happens when I'm working behind it For this, instead of in front of it, I turned it the wrong way. Immediately on high, it went everywhere. And the last step here, as I said, in the middle of all of this mess, we're gonna put it into the bundt pan, then we're gonna pop it in that 350-degree oven for 50 to 60 minutes. Here we have it all smoothed into the bundt pan. Now it's gonna go into the oven. Okay, I just got the applesauce cake out of the oven. It's still a little bit warm, but cool enough to touch, and you can see it puffed up really nicely. It's gonna be nice and moist because of that applesauce. So, of course, now here comes the big reveal and the trick to see if it will come out of the pan here. So we're just gonna take this cake platter and flip it. All right. All right. That looks gorgeous. It smells so great because of all of the spices. So I just have some of the caramel sundae topping, and I'm just gonna take it and drizzle it a little bit over the top. Not much, we don't wanna overwhelm. We still wanna taste that applesauce because after all, this is National Applesauce Cake Day. So I'm just gonna go back and forth like this over the top and let it ooze on down. Okay, all the way around. Great. Okay, and now it'll just give it kind of like a shiny sheen. And of course, what goes better with applesauce? Apple, caramel apple. So here you go. Here is the now caramel applesauce cake. Cheers. Well, we want to see your versions of my recipes, and you can send ideas for future segments as well. Just text them to us at 614-460-3345. Mackenzie